Javier Olivan.
Hey
Hi,
there.
Javier.
Hi, Sarik.
You are actually responsible for international product strategy of Facebook. Is that correct?
Exactly. So I'm taking care of the internationalization of the site and the go-to-market strategies in all the non-English speaking markets.
Okay. I think you just recently launched the German site. That was beginning of March.
Correctly. So that was about 2 weeks ago. We released the version in German, which actually was translated by German users. So we had about 1 million users in German-speaking countries, and we created this application that allowed users to translate the site while they were using Facebook. So they could submit translations for words as send a poke, network, friends, etc. And then they could have discussions around it, so people could discuss what are the best terms for certain words. So people could vote, discuss about what was the best. They ended up deciding Anstupsen for poke, which was a very interesting term. They were debating should be Anklopfen, Anstupsen, and I was following the forums, very, very interesting. And we really liked that we didn't impose predefined translations, but we let them be part of the product and we let them decide how Facebook looks in German, which is very cool.
I mean, you actually have a perfect starting point, because when you have more than 1 million members on there, I remember when we started OpenBC at that time, we actually had to do it from almost zero. So it's a nice starting point.
Yeah, it's interesting because it was all viral organic growth. As you know, the site was always in English, and we grew very strongly in many countries. Europe is 1/3 of our user base, and there's very, very strong markets like UK. Turkey, amazingly, has about 2.8 million users, and well, this changed by the minute. I don't know if that's the exact last number. And we only measure active users, so we don't measure registered users. We only measure users that have logged in at least once in the last 30 days. So,
and I think it was a great idea. You also involved the members with the translation process. How did that go?
So that worked very well. So the German people did it in less than 2 weeks. Basically, 2,000 people contributed with their translations. And this was a limited beta program, so we didn't open the translations application to everyone. It was only, we notified several thousand people, not too many, and 2,000 decided to contribute, and they did it within 2 weeks. All the user interface was translated. So we're very excited about this approach, and we're going to roll out in many other countries, many other languages very soon. And we hope to support as many languages as possible, as fast as possible.
Is there like a rollout plan for the next countries to come?
So we have some batches of languages we're thinking into releasing, but we don't think very, very strategically about it. The goal is to support as many as fast as possible. And there are some languages which are more challenging. For example, Arabic, as you know, it's written from right to left. So it's going to be challenging on the layout. So that might come a little bit later just because of that slight challenge on the layout. But all the languages that are not posing big technical complications, we hope to support them very soon. That's what we're working on. So there's actually a lot of complexity if you think about translating Facebook. And the newsfeed. Newsfeed is a very dynamic piece of content. So it varies by user, it varies by the minute, and all the content is dynamic. So you see things like person A and person B are now friends. That's an example of a sentence. Well, you know Spanish. So in Spanish, if it's two males, it would be son amigos. If it's two females, it would be son amigas.
Exactly.
So we have to factor in all those grammar cases that usually in English are only one possibility, because English has a relatively simple grammar compared to other languages like Spanish, German, for example, another tough one.
Okay. Actually, I don't know if you know that, but one of our co-founders, Tim, he was head of Skype, Germany.
Okay.
He was the country manager for Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. And he told me that Skype was translated by the community in all the languages.
Yeah.
It was a volunteer thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's the approach is not new. I know many startups have done it, and Wikipedia is another great example of a totally community-driven translation. What has not been done before, which we think is a great technological challenge we are breaking, is at the scale of Facebook's user interface, which is relatively big and very dynamic. As I was telling you, like your news feed is a very dynamic piece of content, and that's what makes it challenging.
Now, you gave an interview with the Spiegel, and they were asking also about the market. And as you know, well, there are some quite strong players like Xing and StudiVZ, especially as well, StudiVZ was like a clone, and they're quite successful. So what is your special angle? I mean, I love Facebook, and you know, we did an app, and so we're really into it. What will be your angle? How do you think it's complementary, or do you have to win over people from other networks? How do you see that?
So, one of the things we're trying to build is we're trying to become a global platform for communication. So we are focusing in building a product that makes communication more efficiently, and we believe there's an advantage of being a global player where you can have all the people you've met all over the place. So, for example, in Europe, a lot of people move around a lot, and you're one example. You're married to a Spanish woman, and there's a lot of Erasmus students moving around, a lot of mobility cross country. So, by having one place where you have all your contacts centralized, it's easier to keep in touch with everyone, to have a better way to share information with all of them in more efficient ways that has been possible in the past. So our focus is building a great product that makes people's life easier, that makes communication, keeping in touch with the people that matter to them, more efficient, and we want to make a tool that is available and usable by anyone. So now we're breaking the language barrier, which in the past was an obstacle for some people to use the product. And as Europeans, we know how important it is to support our own languages, so we're happy to be rolling out all these languages as fast as possible.
I think it's a very smart move. We did that at that time when we did Xing. We did it really early. We launched the platform in 16 languages, which at that time was quite an effort because you had to provide all the content in 60 languages, anything you did, and you had to coordinate timing, and so. But on the long run, I think it pays off because people want to network in their language, I think. So I think it's a very, very smart move, and I think it'll help you to grow the platform quicker.